Hi, and welcome to the micro lecture on designing advertising. There's certainly lots of considerations we have, but we have to stay close to our objectives and really understand what we're trying to do with our advertising so we can design it properly. So communication has three components. We think about communication in general as a source, which encodes a message, which is presenting an idea, the message itself, and then how the receiver, or the customer in this case, decodes the message. Communication always has those components in place. So there's lots of ways to think about exactly what we want to say in our marketing advertising, but we're going to try lots of different approaches to it. So copy testing, which is the idea of taking and communicating specific ideas, we're going to actually measure whether or not those are achieving their results or not. So when we think about advertising, we can think about it from a couple of different perspectives. One of them is we want to create what we would call cognitive ads. And this is engaging the consumer's thinking process. So from a one-sided standpoint, we would explain the um, benefits of our product. In this case, it's an example of a smartphone, the world's fastest smartphone. So we concentrate on that particular benefit. In a two-sided cognitive approach, we'd express the pros and cons of our product, and usually, you want to make it uh, considered. We want to try to make it as objective as possible, and usually stand out, you know, more, and we're thinking about the actual pros and cons of our product to the consumer. For example, some pharmaceutical ads usually state the benefits as well as the side effects, but that's not the only way to think about it. We can say um, sometimes when we highlight the pros of our product, um, we emphasize those and downplay the cons of our product when we in the same message. Okay, so when we design cognitive ads, we can do things like, for example, creating a non-comparative ad, which is we're going to really concentrate on one feature or benefit of our product, and we want to get that point across. Um, in this case, we're talking about Pepsi, and talking about the slim, or the weight-saving features of our product in relationship to the can that's being used. Okay. In a comparative ad, we might talk about our brand versus a competitive brand. We don't necessarily have to say who they are, but we're going to say what our brand does really, really well. Um, um, and I guess the point is we don't think of it as being done by market leaders. We do it as we think about it as people are trying to enter into a market and point out the differences of their product in relationship to the one that's established out there in the marketplace. Um, we can do product demonstration ads, which kind of address the consumer's expectations directly and with our product. There's many, many examples of that. And when we talk about creating something called drama ads, the idea here is we can depict a problem that is being solved with the solution, with our product as a solution. They're typically are more memorable than listing just a simple listing of the features of it. So, thinking of our example with our product that we're using for our project, we can think about, like, well, what do we expect? Are we talking about the health benefits of the product? We can kind of, play those up, or we can talk about the convenience factor of having pre-made uh, guacamole as a product, and show that in a party setting or something like that. So we're solving a problem. Okay, so we would call that approach a drama approach. Um, then the other side of it is not cognitive, but we think about emotional types of ads, and emotional ads are meant to uh, directly appeal to some specific need of our consumer. So, and you might want to try using humor in it. I'm going to tell you right now that's a very risky business because as you well know, if you tell a joke to 6 people, 3 of them might laugh and 3 of them might look at you like you're crazy. So that's fairly typical, and with your ads, are probably going to do the same thing. Okay. Um, People do use fear, using negative emotions in ads. We see it all the time. Um, and we can talk about various facts that lead us to say, oh, directly attached to the consumer's fear. We see it all the time, actually, in advertising. So and the reason why is it's pretty powerful. Um, you can create subliminal ads, but there's a lot of mixed results on that in terms of the research and everything, meaning an underlying message is part of your advertising. And then we can create image ads. They're typically more abstract. They're good for positioning. They're these idea that we think of our product being thought of in a more abstract sense. Like in situational types of things. Um, Endorsements are also thought of as being emotional ads. Celebrity experts, regular people, just endorsements, people who are connecting with our product. Um, from a celebrity standpoint, when we know that they're there, we see them all the time. They're a positive association for the spokesperson if they have that connection with our target market. Um, in that they see that connection and they relate to it. Um, we can think about using endorsements from experts, which give credibility to the product. In other words, having somebody say, um, and we've all seen these ads where there's a doctor or somebody like that describing the health benefits of a product, for example. Or it can just come from regular people. Just endorsements from regular people would be like testimonials and saying like, yeah, this works. The current ad campaign that I think it's really done well, and it's a product line I know very well. It's called Prevagen, and it has to do with associating with um, a supplement that helps us with our cognitive abilities, and they've done a really outstanding job of representing individuals who would have the need for it, and they look very much like the target market. Those people that are speaking are believable because you say like, hey, they're just like me, and they are benefiting from this product. Um, so endorsements work from a lot of different perspectives, but there are we think of it as elaboration likelihood model. That's just a term used that says um, the ad's arguments, the central route says an ad's argument persuades and occurs when customers are highly involved with the brand and motivated to the process and to process the ad. Um, so in other words, products and brands that we're familiar with would most likely benefit from this. And then we think about a peripheral route, which is where the ad's peripheral cues persuade, but not argue specifically for the point of the ad or the message of the ad. And there's lots of ways that can go about happening. These are not necessarily done in isolation, but they're considerations when we're putting together an endorsement types of an ad. Okay. Obviously a lot of it has to do with the credibility of the source itself. So it's kind of interesting. We see source credibility comes into play. In other words, when we have an endorsement being made, and the person doesn't seem to have anything to do with the message that's being put forward. Like Michael Jordan selling Rayovac batteries. I mean, what does Michael Jordan know about batteries? On the other hand, if we're using Michael Jordan to promote athletic shoes like Nike shoes, we can have a lot more credibility because that's who he is and what he is. Okay, so it's very important that you make that connection. The sleeper effect is that the source conveys information, but then it deteriorates over time. So the strength of an endorsement is not forever giving, I guess would be my way of putting it. Okay, so that really describes the different approaches we can take, but the two key ones are we can think of it as being a cognitive approach, where we're making a more or less rational discussion about why you'd want to purchase the product. And then the more emotional one, which is trying to make a connection with our target customer and saying, okay, we know who you are, and we know what you need, and that's why we're so great. So they're both used on a regular basis, and as you can appreciate, um, they both have their place. So the next thing we're going to speak about when it comes to designing advertising is measuring the results of the advertising that we do. Okay? If you have any questions about this, please let me know, and I will be happy to answer that. And good luck with with putting together the milestone.